Minister. So we're moving on now to topical number 4 in the name of Deputy Ríordáin to discuss the proposed reconfiguration of primary schools in Raheny.
Minister, I appreciate the Minister was in touch with my office to say that she had other commitments this evening, so I appreciate your own attendance, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say on behalf of the Government. Essentially, Minister, you'll appreciate that when, as a TD, you get maybe over 20 or 30 emails on a particular issue, you know that something has gone drastically wrong. There is a review of the primary schools in Raheny Parish currently. When I made contact with the Archbishop's office, the Archdiocese, the representative informed me that this is one of a number of reviews. I think it's 29 schools in 11 parishes, and Raheny is one of them. That there is an independent facilitator whose role it is to consult, to listen, and to be part of the information flow. However, it is, and this is a process, by the way, that is done in tandem between the patron body and the Department of Education. So normally, as a rule, because I used to be in that position as a school principal, I don't get involved in individual school issues about their future. It's an issue for the individual school and the patron body. These things don't need to be politicised unnecessarily. However, this does have a political component to it because the Department of Education are involved, and this process is being so mishandled that regardless of your view of the futures of the primary schools in Raheny, everybody would feel as if they're not being heard, that the independent facilitator is not doing the job properly, and that there has to be a restart. So anybody who knows anything about my politics will know that I believe in divestment. I believe that having a disproportionate number of schools under one particular patron is not healthy. Anybody who knows anything about my political view would know that I don't believe that single-gender schools, particularly at primary level, is something that can stand up to any sort of scrutiny. So what we have in Raheny are 2 single-gender schools and a mixed infant school, and there is a proposal, I understand, after a period of consultation, that perhaps one school would divest, and there would be then 2 remaining schools under Catholic patronage, and there may be a reconfiguration of those schools along co-educational lines. In speaking to, again, the representative of the Archbishop, I asked him plainly, is it an absolute guarantee that anybody who wants to have their child educated through the Catholic ethos within Raheny, that there will be capacity for that to continue into the future? And he said categorically yes. And that's grand, and he said that to me, but that is not the understanding, or that is not the knowledge of many people contacting me. So what I'm asking you, Minister, is that the Minister for Education takes control of this situation, because clearly if people are forced to contact their local representative, they feel they're not being heard. Also, we need to hear the views of those who do not have children currently attending schools in Raheny, but who live in Raheny, and they may have a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, and they would like to know if they could have some say as to what the reconfiguration of schools will be. So bluntly, Minister, this situation has gotten out of control. It's not working for anybody. It's not working for the staff. It's not working for the parents. And I'm asking the Minister to intervene and to ensure that the independent facilitator of this process does his job effectively, because currently there's a lot of concern and insecurity about the future of schools, and people feel as if they're not being listened to.
Thank you, Deputy Ríordáin. I am taking this on behalf, as you know, of the Minister of Education. I'd like to thank you, Deputy, for raising this matter, and it gives me the opportunity to set out for the House the position with regard to the school's reconfiguration engagement process that is ongoing in a number of pilot areas nationwide, including a number of primary schools in the Raheny area. And in March this year, the Minister for Education announced that arrangements are being put in place for a number of towns and areas of cities that have no multi-denominational primary schools at present, as part of the pilot reconfiguration initiative. This work involves identifying potential schools and engaging with school authorities, school staff and the school communities, including parents, with a view to agreeing on a transfer of patronage and change of ethos, where there is sufficient demand for this. Where a school transfers from the patronage from one patron to another, the school remains open with the same roll number and operating from the same school property. All state-funded primary schools follow a common national curriculum and are subject to the same rules and regulations, as you know. The Council for Education of the Irish Episcopal Conference, representing the Catholic patrons and relevant bishops, have confirmed their willingness to engage and cooperate fully with the Department of Education in seeking to facilitate a more diverse school patronage in these towns and cities. And the pilot areas are part of the cities of Cork, Dublin, Galway and Limerick, and also the Arklow, Athlone, Dundalk and Youghal areas. The Department has made available a number of independent facilitators across the pilot areas to work with the school patron and relevant school authorities at a local level to progress the reconfiguration pilot initiative and to engage with stakeholders including school authorities, school staff and parents. The work is aimed at agreeing on a transfer of patronage and change of ethos to multi-denominational where there is sufficient demand for this in the pilot areas. Among the pilot areas being engaged with to consider if there is a demand for transfer of patronage and change of ethos to multi-denominational are 3 schools: Naskel Ija, Skelania and Skelassam in the Raheny area. For clarity, no decision has been taken to transfer patronage of any of these 3 schools. There is ongoing engagement process in this respect, and the relevant facilitator has met with the school authorities and staff, and dates have been set for the facilitator's information meetings with parents of the children in the 3 schools. A key part of the structured engagement process in the pilot areas is the information meeting with parents, where the facilitators make a presentation to parents providing information on the school's reconfiguration process initiative, including information on what this may mean for parents and pupils, and setting out the steps in the engagement process. At the information meetings with the facilitator, parents will have the opportunity to raise any questions and to share their views. The information meetings are useful from the facilitators and patrons' representative perspective in helping to gauge the level of demand for a transfer of patronage and change of ethos. Parents can share their views at the information meetings with the facilitator and also by email to the Department for Education's reconfiguration email address, and such correspondence will be shared with the relevant facilitator. You did call for the intended facilitator and the patron bodies, and you've asked for the Minister to intervene. I will bring those views back to the Minister.
Thanks, Minister. Well, there's 2 issues. One is that the independent facilitator has indicated that he will read the room, and no matter what side of the debate you want, whether you want a divestment or you want co-education or you want things to remain exactly as they are, an independent facilitator is saying to a group of parents or to anybody that it'll be his determination of what the temperature is by just reading the room isn't particularly scientific and doesn't give anybody any sense that this would be done in a fair manner. Secondly, I would contend that the parent of a 2-year-old has more skin in the game than the parent of somebody in 6th class. Yet the parent of somebody in 6th class who is leaving the school next year has more of a say in what the future of these schools are than somebody whose child is 2 or 3 or 4 living close to school and intends to send their child to that school. Their view is not being canvassed. They're not being asked. Yet they live in this area and they surely have a view. So 2 things that I have an issue with, and this is why I'm asking the Minister to intervene and perhaps to speak to or communicate with the independent facilitator, is 1, you cannot ask people to have faith in the process when the determination will be made by a facilitator who's going to read the temperature of the room. And secondly, what if my child is 2 or 3 or 4 and I live in Raheny and I have an interest in what happens to the future of these schools? Surely we should find a mechanism in that school catchment area to canvass the views of those who live locally, whose children are soon to be of school going age, who, as I say, have more of a stake in this than somebody whose child is in 6th class and have, they're leaving the school next year and has no other children going through the schools. They're two very reasonable points, and I think the Minister needs to hear them and needs to communicate them back. Otherwise, we're going to have a very divisive process, which I believe we already have, will satisfy nobody. Schools are magical places. We need to make sure they remain so and not have division.
Thank you, Deputy Reardon. I will bring your views and concerns back to the Minister. And engagement in relation to the 3 schools you have referred to in Raheny is ongoing, and no decisions in respect of transfers of patronage from the Catholic patron to a multi-denominational patron have been made at this stage. And as part of the structured engagement process, information meetings with the facilitator has been set up with parents of children in the 3 schools, where the facilitator will provide information on the process, answer queries raised, and provide an opportunity for parents to share their views. And parents and the school community can also email the Minister's Department at reconfiguration_dublin@education.gov.ie if they have questions or share any views they may have in this regard. As part of the structured engagement process, the facilitator and schools' patrons and patrons' representatives, where appropriate, reviews engagement as part of each of the information sessions with the school community, and the facilitator writes a preliminary report reflecting the engagement with the school authorities, staff, parents, and submits this to the patron. In pilot areas where the engagement has already progressed to this stage, the facilitator's preliminary report to the patron was circulated to the full school community, and a dedicated reconfiguration email address was provided so that the school community, including parents, could provide any feedback or views, and the department collated this and provided this to the relevant facilitator. This, as you know, is an ongoing engagement process with the school community, and I would encourage the school community in this area and other areas where the school pilot engagement process is ongoing to share their views with the facilitator and with the Department of Education. And the overarching aim of this pilot process is to offer greater choice to parents in areas where the availability of multi-denominational schools is limited. Again, I want to thank you, Minister Eireann, for raising these issues, and I will bring them back to the Minister.